Hi guys. So in class we already went through this particular problem, find the first derivative. That was actually the first problem we went through in class. So this is the first derivative. Now to find the second derivative, okay, let's find the second derivative. Let me zoom in a little bit here. So to find the second derivative, obviously you see this is a quotient of two functions. The function on top is x, the function on bottom is y. Y is a function of x, right? So you're going to use quotient rule. So I'm going to say double derivative. Do you remember the notation is d square y dx square, right? And this is actually the same as like find the derivative of the first derivative. Okay, so just to review the notation pretty quick. So in other words, you're going to find the derivative of negative x over y, right? So quotient rule is applied. Quotient rule says I'm going to move out the negative sign. So low square on the bottom, and on top is going to be low d high. The derivative of high, in this case, the derivative of x is just 1, minus high times d low. D low, what is d low? Y prime, right? This is your y prime. Now keep in mind, the negative sign is already pulled out. It was treated as constant, and then I pulled that out. Okay, so therefore this is, the top is still low d high minus high d low. Now you're not gonna stop here. What is y prime? You already know y prime is this guy, so you should do that, do substitution. So equals negative y squared on the bottom, y minus x times, what is y prime? Negative x over y. Okay, let's continue to simplify, because eventually this will simplify to a very nice result. So equals negative sign, y squared. So this is y minus a plus x squared over y, right? Okay. Now I want to combine, simplify these two, so I need a common denominator. So I'm going to multiply this by y over y so that they have common denominator. And then this is going to be equal to, so the numerator, I have y squared over y plus x squared, right? And then here, this is what we have. After we combine these two terms, that's what we have. And actually we can continue to simplify. What is y squared plus x squared? Okay, look at the problem that we started with. X squared plus y squared is actually 1, so we do know this is equal to 1. So eventually this is what we have, 1 over y squared, and this turns out to be 1 over y cubed. So this is the second derivative of the first problem. Let's try the next one. So you may want to pause my video if you want to try that yourself, which I strongly encourage you to do that. So the derivative of x is just 1, right? Plus derivative of y is, again, the trick is think of y as your function of x. So don't stop right here. You have to multiply by derivative of inner function, which is y prime, equals 0. So after a little algebra, you can see that 2y prime is equal to negative 1. Y prime is negative 1 over 2y. Negative 1 over 2y. Okay, so negative 1 over 2y. So this is the first derivative. Now let's find the second derivative. So the y double prime. So you're going to find the derivative one more time on this guy, okay? Which means the y prime of prime, the prime of y prime, right? So in other words, you want to find the derivative of this guy. And you know, when I find the derivative of that, I don't like to use what do we call it? Quotient rule, right? I prefer to use products rule if I can. So I'm going to rewrite that as this guy, right? Okay, obviously, negative 1/2 is constant. So I'm going to just write that down. And apply the power rule to this guy, y to the negative 1 power. So it's going to be negative y raised to power negative 2, right? Okay, if you stop here, then you're missing something. You have to continue to multiply the derivative of inner function, which is y prime. So this is something that students tend to miss. So after that, we're gonna there are two negative signs, so it becomes positive sign, and y to the negative power negative 2 is become y squared on the bottom. So now y prime is there. I need to plug in my y prime. What is y prime? Negative 1 over 2y. So I'm gonna plug in negative 1 over 2y. So now I have 1 over 4 times y cubed. So this is it. That's it.